Yeah.
So what's on your list this week?
I don't have a list at all.
I
didn't even start a list.
Do you have a list?
No, I don't have a list. I never have a list for this show.
A lisp?
I know.
I think you have a lisp.
I never have a list for this show.
I usually have a list, and I still have our list from last week, but as you all know, it was all gaming.
Yeah, I only have game stuff. So what you got?
Well, I have a travel-related thing. So this week, there was a viral video of this woman on an airplane who had reclined her seat, and the man behind her was punching the seat. Which has now sparked this discussion to recline or not recline.
Also, the man is at the back of the plane, so he can't
go back.
And
go anywhere.
If you look at the video closely, you can see that his tray table is touching his stomach.
Yeah, that's always it.
And it's very uncomfortable. And you can see that the man is saying something to the woman. And, of course, there's no sound in this video that I've seen. So, the woman was furious that she was reprimanded by the airline attendant and that the man was then offered a drink, some rum, I think.
Rum's good.
Because of the situation.
Good.
Now, on one of my traveling pages, people are like, you know, you should have paid more money to sit in a seat where you could recline, and if I pay my money to recline, then I should be able to do it. And,
Wait.
And
you don't choose the seat to recline? There's no choice there. They don't give you that choice they don't say, this row of seats don't recline, so do you want this or not? They don't ask that question.
For like first class or something.
No.
They're saying don't sit in the back seat.
But all the seats recline except for that one row, and you don't get a choice.
We've been on planes where the seats did not recline.
But they still don't give you a choice.
They don't
look at the seating thing and say, if you need to recline, these seats won't recline, so do you want to move? They don't do that.
Nope. And so,
anywhere.
most people are saying, fuck the person behind you.
No. If the person behind you is at the very back of the plane,
forget the very back.
You don't recline. And plus,
Yeah, but what if you're just sitting there and you're a person and you have your tray table out, and when they recline, it jams into your body?
That's happened to me. Like, I've had my leg pinched between the tray table and the armrest because the person in front of me reclined their seat so fast and hard that it just pinched my leg. I had a bruise for like a month.
But that's what I'm saying, that I think the problem here is people have gotten bigger. The space between seats has not.
It's gotten smaller in most cases.
And people are not considerate of the people behind them, because you ever notice that people like to recline when you have food on your tray table?
Yeah, it's so rude.
It's like, this is not it's like the tray table somehow needs to be independent of the movement of the seat in front. But then that means you need more space.
The only time I've ever had that is when I'm in that very front row.
And it comes out of the armrest.
Yes. But like for Aaron, for example, Aaron is super tall, and so when he gets in these teeny tiny little spaces, his knees are already touching the back of the thing, and then the jackass in front reclines without saying, you know.
And
but nobody's going to say
anything. I 100% have hit a seat because someone did that, mainly in China. But somebody does that, and I just hit the seat. Essentially, they hit me, but I don't move. So they're like, oh, and they just sit back up. And it's like, you can't go back any further.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the problem is in the design, not in trying to manage the people, because people are really, really rude in those situations.
And they're so selfish and
so there's no point in trying to.
There's
literally no point in trying to manage that. Because what are you gonna do? Teacher, they put their seat back, and then what's the argument? I'm supposed to be able to put my seat back.
Right.
I had commented, did anyone else notice that the tray table is touching his abdomen? And someone responded to me that he he should have said nothing, and that if the person doesn't want reclining, then they should choose an appropriate airline or seat. Your problem is not the next person's problem, and you are not allowed to disrespect a person for reclining. He was absolutely out of line. And I said, wait a minute. So if the person in front of me is causing me pain, it's my fault?
I don't think they're saying it's your fault. But
She is absolutely saying...
But it does sound like they're saying that the choice you made to be on that airline, that's what needs to be changed.
But how are you going to know?
I don't know.
That's not always your choice.
I literally do not know how you choose, like, how do I know how much space is between the two seats? How do I know what the seats are like when they recline?
How do I know
any of this?
if my seat is going to recline or
Yeah,
not?
I mean, and barring broken things, I mean, you're never gonna have that information unless you've been on that particular kind of plane before. But you usually don't know the plane before you check in.
Right.
Now,
You've already bought the ticket.
let me be clear. I think he was being an ass by punching the seat like that. However, she was just as much of an ass for not moving when he said something the first time.
Yeah, but I don't. Like I said, policing people. That's where the problem comes in. You're not gonna police people, and you're not gonna get them to, acquiesce to your will because they're making you uncomfortable. That's a thing that just does not. You can't do that. There needs to be more space from seat to seat, and if that means taking out a row or two, take out the fucking row or two.
Yeah.
Because there's the problem. They're cramming people into spaces. Do you ever notice that now on airplanes we have all this headroom that we didn't have before?
Yep.
So we have all this headroom, but that doesn't do us a whole lot of good when the seats are, you're sitting, 6 inches from the seat in front of you. How does that help?
As far.
I can't even reach the buttons.
Right.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't reach the buttons even
So,
if I stand up there.
Think about
Sometimes
that.
I can't
reach the buttons, but the person, literally, I can smell their shampoo.
Absolutely.
And
Or if they didn't brush their teeth that morning.
so, I mean, I guess, to me, it really seems like this is an airplane maker's design flaw.
Yeah.
They need to remove that row. There needs to be space. Stop trying to cram people in like sardines to get from here to there, because when you make that trip uncomfortable, then why would anybody take your airline again? So that means airlines have to go to the makers and say, if you don't have X amount of distance so that this seat can go back and not destroy the person behind it,
Right.
then no, we don't want your plane.
Yep.
And that's what should happen.
Yeah.
Because trying to deal with individual people, maybe there are some people that need to put their seat back.
Right.
There are people that need the leg room.
Right.
They
Like
need
my
the
friend,
space.
my friend travels a lot, and he's 6'6", 300, 400 pounds. I mean, he's a big, big, big guy. And there have been times when he's like so pinched in, he can't physically cannot move. He's like a sardine in there, and then the person in front tries to recline their seat, and he's like, "Excuse me, I already can't move. This is painful. Please sit up."
Saying this is a design problem with. I mean, I get airlines would rather get as many people from here to there as possible, but then either make the airplanes bigger.
Yeah.
Or take out a couple of the rows so that you can put space between. It's just what has to happen. Or you don't book every flight full.
Right.
So that people can move around. But that means...
But in the U.S., that's like, they overbook them every single time.
But that's a choice of the airline.
Yeah. They shouldn't do that.
I mean, honestly, I think air travel was a luxury item where people had comfort. It is now a bus.
Right.
It's literally a bus in the air, and that if you're in a country like, for example, when we were in China, I don't think I would. Outside of the idea of I want to get there fast so I can enjoy my vacation. Trains are way better.
Oh.
The train is way better.
Oh, yes.
The train it's much more comfortable. You can get up and walk around with like little to no problem.
It's clean.
And most are clean, depending on the style of train. And
we've only had one that was when we took the slow train, I was like, don't touch anything.
Exactly. It all depends on the train.
The bullet train and the super fast train, the D train, and that one that we took from Hong Kong, those were all super nice.
And it was comfortable. The one from Hong Kong had the chairs that could turn around, so if you're with a group, you could spin around and talk to each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was super cool.
That kind of stuff is gone from air travel.
Right.
And that's what needs to come back into air travel, because they're
flying train.
It's not comfortable anymore.
Well, and they're making it so it's not affordable, because now you have to pay for all your luggage. You have to pay for your
no amenities. All amenities are gone.
You pay for your carry-on bags in some airlines. You get nothing. You get no water for free. You get no peanuts for free. You get not even a blanket for free.
Yep.
Like Asia Airlines, don't fly them. They're horrible. The seats are tiny. The staff is not great. They charge you ridiculous amounts for absolutely everything. They're not a great airline. But for some times, you don't have any other choices.
Exactly.
Like when we were flying from Beijing to Phuket, that was our only option. And then when I had to fly from Phuket to Bangkok, that was my only option. Mm-hmm. There were no other airlines. How am I going to make a different choice if that's my only choice?
And AirAsia sucks.
Oh my God, they're such a horrible airline. Oh my God.
Absolutely sucks. So I guess I'm thinking with the way travel is today and the way people move around, all different sizes, it really is not, we only have, say, small Chinese people traveling on our airline. It's just not like that anymore.
No, because there are people from all
over the world.
Yeah.
So if that's the case and you got all this range of people, it seems like I said, the makers of airplanes would take that into account, as well as, and maybe that means that there needs to be different sized chairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Because there are different sized people.
Yep.
And they always want to say, oh, well, you're bigger, so that means, you need to pay for 2 chairs. It's like, yeah, but now I'm sitting on something that has this weird thing in the middle of it. Yeah. Right? Even if I'm gonna take some of that space, I'm not sitting in a chair. Right. I'm sitting on 2 chairs where it has this weird hump. Why not maybe have some rows that have larger chairs?
Right.
And when you check in, I mean, they do it with wheelchairs now.
They do.
You go into the hospital, there's not a one size fits all for that anymore.
Unless you're here.
Right. Well, unless you're in a lot of places that just can't afford to have
the
variety.
wider ones.
But it's important to, I would say today, because of the way people travel, to take that into account and say, okay, you're not going to get charged more for this chair, but we have chairs that will accommodate you.
Right.
I mean, and think about it. We've seen old elderly come up to the plane in a wheelchair where they had to carry them up the stairs to then put them on the plane. Well, we saw
that in China, Malaysia, Mexico, Thailand.
So,
we've seen it everywhere.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have...
It was on our plane that we went to Cancun.
Yes. Yep. And wouldn't it make more sense to have a space where that person is going to be more comfortable in a chair?
Yeah.
I guess the idea of thinking about comfort versus quantity.
Yeah.
It needs to be comfort more, because, as you said, as flying becomes more expensive, that means fewer people are going to be doing it.
Yep.
And then if fewer people are actually doing the flying, well, then you're going to be buying planes that are going to be starting to get empty and emptier. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to have the butts in the seats.
Right. A friend of mine flew from the Dominican Republic to England. And she traveled around Europe for 3 weeks. And because she didn't want to pay for any luggage on any of these airlines that she would be using to travel, she had literally everything she needed for 3 weeks, or everything she was going to take for 3 weeks, in her backpack. Because once she figured out how much the fees were going to be, it was almost more than a week's worth of hotels. And she wasn't staying in a hotel. She's a couch surfer host. And so she was then going and visiting all these people who had come and stayed with her in different places, had couch surfed over the last 15, 20 years. And she was going to visit them. So she wasn't paying for that, but it would have been more than a week's worth of hotel accommodations. So she just put a couple of things in her backpack that could be easily washed, and that's what she did, because she didn't want to pay that fee. And it's things like that, like for families. She did a solo trip for the first time ever, but for families like us who never do solo trips, we couldn't afford that. We couldn't afford all those fees. And even like our last trip, we had to pay for everything.
I think what's happening is, while flying was luxury for a lot of people for a very long time, I think it's starting to get back to some kind of exclusive club of people that are able to afford it and can fit it.
Yep.
It's like only these people are going to fly from now on, and they're making that calculation to say we only want these people flying.
Mm-hmm. People
People that are not going to take a lot of luggage, people that are small and thin, people that have the financial means to pay for all of this stuff and to absorb all the fees. I think that's just what they're doing. It's like people who can get a limo.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not everybody can get a limo. We can get an Uber. We can get a taxi.
We can take a bus.
You can take a bus, but that limo is just a cost that you just can't absorb on it often, ever. You know, you do it once in your life, maybe.
Right.
If you're lucky, you know, prom time or something, and that's it.
Didn't even do it then.
Maybe I didn't either. Or maybe, you know, you do it on your wedding day. You get a limo, and then that's it. There is no more.
Didn't do it then either.
You know, and it's just like, okay.
Right.
You know, but I think air travel is starting to become that, and I think they're going to have to, with the way jobs are and the way people are moving around the world now to get to those jobs, what's going to happen when people are like, we'll just take another way. We'll find another way to get there.
Yeah. And for families like us, because there are lots of families like ours who travel for work, go to country to live. If we want to leave here and go, say, Europe or even South America, it's going to be thousands of dollars to move. Now, do we ship our things or do we sell everything and buy new? Those are things that we have to consider. But when it comes to flights, the flight cost is the flight cost.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. Nope, there's not much getting around whatever that happens to be.
And sometimes there are no choices other than those tiny little airlines that are, you know, where you're squeezed in for 12 hours and you can't feel your legs after an hour and a half, and like Air Asia.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the guy is necessarily wrong to voice the fact that he's now become uncomfortable by the person in front of him.
I don't think he's wrong either. But
I don't know if it's really right to be punching at chairs, but that's just
immaturity right there. I mean, he could have, if he said something to her and she refused, he could have then pushed the button, except for he couldn't move. He could have gotten the flight attendant's attention and then asked them to do something.
But see, what would you, on a full flight, what else could you do? I mean, they could go and ask somebody else to move.
Or she could be, you know, a decent human being and sit the
I
fuck
know,
up.
but what I'm saying is, what would the flight attendant do?
Tell her to sit up.
That's not really fair to her.
Why isn't it?
Because it's not. She paid for a chair that reclines.
So what?
No, what I'm saying is she paid for a chair that reclines. That's like saying I paid for a chair in front of me that has a table on it, but I can't use the table. I'm not allowed to use the table because the person in front of me, they don't like it when it shakes their chair. No, that's not the answer. That's not the solution.
I never recline my seat, ever.
I mean, I don't either.
Because I'm always
but
considerate of the person behind me. What if they're tall?
But you're making a choice.
Yes, I'm choosing to be considerate.
Yeah, you're making a choice to not take advantage of something that you paid for. You paid for the ability to sit in a chair, and that chair has the ability to recline. You're choosing not to use it.
But I didn't choose the chair because it reclined.
But it doesn't matter. You're using semantics that make no sense. You are sitting. It's like saying you bought this cell phone, but you choose not to use the apps.
So at what point?
You know, it's like you paid for it.
So at what point, as a traveler, do you consider those around you, or just say, fuck everybody else, I'm going to do whatever I want to do?
I think you would say, why can't I do what everybody else can do? Why do I have to stop doing what everybody else is able to do?
Should everybody else do it?
Why would they make a chair that reclines if you're not allowed to recline?
I'm not saying not allowed.
But you are. You're saying that I need to choose not to use the very thing. It's like if there was a cup holder, but then you can't use the cup holder. But everybody else can use the cup holder. But you can't. So when your thing tips over and falls and spills on you, you get mad. But you're mad at what? The fact that you made a choice not to use the damn cup holder. No, it's like that weird self-policing thing. No, don't make a fucking chair that reclines.
Okay.
That's how you fix that. You lock all the chairs down, they all stay in an upright position, and nobody reclines unless there's space behind the chair for the other person. Because part of the way that they could fix that problem is to not have the chair fixed when it reclines.
Right.
Is to have the chair slide or just slid forward.
Right.
Thus giving the person behind the chair, because on trains they did this.
Right.
The space behind the chair does not change.
Nope. Not at all.
And the table does not move.
Nope.
And that means when I access the table, I don't bother the person in front of me. And when they lean back, it doesn't move the table. That's just an engineering problem, isn't it?
Yep.
I told you it's a design issue. They have to choose to then design things that are going to make sense for that situation. Give everybody lazy boys and be done with it.
Yeah.
Because lazy boys do that thing where when the seat slides forward a bit in order to let the back down, which thus gives you the space.
Yeah.
I don't think self-policing is the way to go there. I don't think it's not considerate. It's just denying yourself what everybody else can do. And that's not necessarily fair. Like, I can't move my seat because he's sitting behind me. That's not fair. Fucking move.
What if you can't move?
No, but that's my point. Move where you can be comfortable.
But what if you can't
But isn't
move?
that the airline's job? Isn't that the flight attendant's job to walk back and say, we see that you don't have a lot of space. Can we move you up to the emergency row where you're going to have a little more space?
Yeah, I'll do that from now on if I can.
But I'm saying that would be the management by the airline that would make sense. And then they put somebody behind me because you're behind me, and they say, you know, can you be comfortable here? And they will say, yeah, I got plenty of space.
But what if they say, okay, we see that you're squeezed in, can we move you? But the person in the other row won't move. Say they want to move Aaron to an emergency
And he
row.
doesn't want to move.
Not Aaron, the person who's already in that seat.
What are you talking about? I was talking about him moving.
Yeah, but there's usually somebody already in the seat.
Oh, you're talking about where he would move to.
Yeah.
swapping.
Because that happens all the time.
Yeah, but that's a choice. I mean, that's a choice that people have, right?
Airlines are now getting to the point where...
I don't know why people would want to hold onto their seat, though. It's not yours. It was never yours to begin with.
But you pay for it.
No, but it was never yours.
Okay, but you still pay
You
for
paid
your
for
seat.
you paid for a seat on the plane.
No.
That particular seat.
Wait.
That particular seat you didn't get assigned to usually until you checked in.
Sorry, you don't do the bookings.
No. I'm saying
I
you,
do,
but
Aaron.
you don't own it. It's not fucking yours.
But you're not listening to what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is it's not yours. It's never yours. It belongs to the goddamn airline. They can fucking move you anytime they fucking want to.
Aaron.
As well as kick your ass off.
Can I please finish my sentence?
I know, but what you're about to say doesn't make sense because it's never yours.
Dude, I'm not saying that you have ownership for the rest of your life.
You don't have ownership at all.
What I'm saying is when we book a flight, if I want to make sure that our family sits together, I have to pay an extra fee.
That's fine.
Which sometimes can be crazy expensive.
But are you paying an extra fee for seat 32B,
Yes.
or are you paying an extra fee to sit together?
Sometimes both. Sometimes the seat
I know, but
fees are more expensive based on where they are.
When the other people come and check in, they can move you at any moment. They can shuffle you around anytime they want to. When you go to check your bag, they can go into the system and go bing, 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 bing.
What I'm
The
saying,
four of you are on the plane, but you are nowhere near each other.
that's what you pay the extra for, so that you
Yeah, but that
don't
doesn't
do
mean
that.
they have to hold on to that.
Yes, it does.
No, they don't.
You have the right to stay in your seat. You do not have to give it up.
What I'm saying is, at the time of check-in,
No.
they can move your ass. Why do you think that you get owners, like you get to hold on to it? You hold on to nothing. You own nothing on that plane except your shit.
Okay, next time I won't pay the fee.
No, that's not what
And
I'm
we can sit
I don't
all
think
over
you're-
the plane.
I don't think you're hearing me. It has nothing to do with you. This is what airlines can do. Just like you argue about not getting up, they can kick your ass off that plane. Period. No questions.
Okay.
No nothing. They can fucking remove your ass right then and there.
Let me get back to my
For
point.
being angry.
Let me get back to my point.
So
now the airlines are charging all these extra fees to sit families together.
yeah.
So one mom posted this week that she got on the flight and she had forgotten to get the assigned seat, like pick her seats ahead of time. And she was flying with her 16-year-old daughter and her 3-year-old son. And the son was sitting next to a stranger. The daughter was almost in the back of the plane and the mom was somewhere else. So the flight attendant asked the guy if he would be willing to swap with the mom. And the guy said no. And she's like, okay, great. His name is blah, blah, blah. And here is his backpack. If he needs a snack, there you go. And the guy was like, wait a minute, what? You mean the kid's gonna stay here? And she's like, yeah, this is his seat. And he's like, no, I'll move. But they would have literally made this 3-year-old sit apart from his parent.
No.
Because she forgot to get the seats.
You know, these are issues that used to be never issues.
Right.
You know, if
Because
you've been
if you
flying
booked as a
for 30,
family-
40 years, these are not things that should ever come up. But these are things that airlines are now doing
To make more
it
money.
and to make it less comfortable for people with families, with young children to fly, because having a young child fly usually inconveniences or makes people angry around them.
Yep.
So they know that they want to keep them off the planes.
Yeah.
It's like when the baby starts crying, right?
Headphones.
You know, the baby starts crying and then everybody on the plane is basically unhappy with their flight experience because of a baby flying. And they don't have a good way of fixing that problem, because this is just a bunch of humans all together in a tin can.
Right.
You know? And I don't really think that they should try to make it worse. You know?
And they do.
It shouldn't be what I'm saying is, for that mother that has that situation, 2 young children, different ages, put them together.
Yeah.
You fucking put them together. You move people, because I have seen, and it's happened to me before, where you go up to check in at the gate, and they are still moving people around.
Yeah.
Based on what has happened, like who has showed up, and they will say to you, do you mind to not be in the aisle, or do you mind not being at a window, and we can move you over here, like you're flying alone, right? Nope. It really doesn't matter where you are on the plane when you're flying alone.
Right.
It really doesn't. I mean, the type of chair might matter, but the where on the plane, it has no meaning for you.
Well, when Aaron and Keegan were flying from China to the U.S., they were unaccompanied minors, and they had separated them, which I thought was crazy because we bought the tickets together. The woman said at the airline when I bought them that they would be sitting together, and Aaron had to say something about, I need to sit with my sister, and they moved him.
No, they moved her.
Oh, they moved her to you.
But that's the point, though.
It was weird. They sat me in a 3-lane thing where nobody else was sitting, and then they sat Keegan up and over, and it was like, why? There's plenty of space here. There was no reason for her to move. So,
yeah,
I think
I like I said, this is a decision by the airlines to value quantity over quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can make any decision that they want to make. They can do it when that flight is boarding. I mean, they can move your fucking luggage around.
Right.
They can take your luggage right out of your hand at the gate and stick it under the plane.
Yep.
They can take your luggage out of the overheads and move it around.
Yep.
And separate you from your luggage, your overhead stuff,
because they did that on our trip to
carry-on
Cancun.
stuff.
Like, they moved me and Keegan all the way to the very front of the plane, but our luggage was still way back in the middle.
But I mean, they can do whatever they need to do in order to get that plane off the ground with everybody comfortable. You know, when they look down and they say, "Do you want to like?" What happens? Do you want to sit in the emergency row? When someone says no, now you got to shuffle people around if it's a full flight.
Right.
So why are they making it so that, oh, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that, you have to nickel and dime people to the point where it's like opening up a bank account.
Yep.
Where they want to nickel and dime you for wanting to see a person.
Yeah. Or being able to get your statement online, to be able to print it, or go into the bank to get a statement. They charge you up for all that nonsense. It's ridiculous. Would you have hit the woman's seat?
I've already done it.
But would you have continued if she didn't move?
Probably, yeah.
Would you have said something to her?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think that I mean, sure, she wants to recline, but you can tell that's not a small dude. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
That's squished in the very back of the plane.
Yeah.
And being that big guy, yeah, I'm either gonna make it so that you can't move, or you're not gonna want to. Because I'm not gonna have my experience be
even
tainted
more terrible.
because I'm already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The seat's already too narrow. The belt already doesn't fit right. I mean, the only good flights that I've had were Air Malaysia and the one on Cancun when we were in the emergency row.
Yeah.
Those are
you
the
had
only
extra
two.
Space. Yeah, Air Malaysia is pretty comfortable, and
but it's the seat size.
Yeah, the seats are comfortable.
The belts, and in the emergency row, that belt had slack without being extended.
Except, which brings another thing, because
I could actually tighten the belt.
When
I've never been able to do it.
I don't understand why the seat belts are different sizes. The seat belts should all be the same size. So Keegan and I both had an issue with the seat belt in the emergency row on our way to Cancun. So they made us move to a different place because if we needed an extender, we couldn't sit in the emergency row.
Which is weird.
But when we got back up to the other row, I clipped my seatbelt without a problem, tightened it with no problem, and then Keegan still needed an extender. But when we went on our way back, neither one of us had a problem with the seatbelt. In the same seats.
Look,
And I know I didn't lose that much weight.
You didn't lose.
I didn't
in
lose
a week.
Yeah, I didn't lose
You
a
lost
pound.
I know. I was like,
My-
what?
I mean, I did walk a lot, but I didn't lose weight.
I don't know. That problem. When we were going, felt like, oh, this is their way of making sure that somebody of a certain size doesn't sit here.
Yeah.
That's what it said to me.
Yep, me too.
But on the way back, you were able to sit in those same seats. Then it became, now that it seems like a problem of the seatbelt.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
the seatbelts were different sizes. Why would they be different sizes?
And they were different sizes on that first flight because when I went to the other seat and I was like,
No. What I'm saying is, in the emergency row, they make this. This is what I thought. They made it smaller on purpose.
Yes.
But then on the other one, of course, they wouldn't be smaller because it wasn't an emergency row.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But then when on the way back, we found out that you could sit in the emergency. It's like, then why? What was going on that other flight?
Right.
What was happening?
Yep.
Yeah.
The seatbelts are just not all the same length,
It's all bullshit.
which means, quantity over quality.
Or the seatbelt was stuck
Yeah.
under the seat. It
Yeah,
was stuck down there, and you weren't getting the full thing.
Yeah.
Like it was there, but it was stuck on
Yeah.
something or whatever.
In conclusion,
There's a
make better
conclusion?
planes.
I think they.
Be respectful of others. Shit.
Oh God.
Yeah, but that's back
Like,
to
yeah.
the self-police.
Okay, if
Yeah.
you recline and the person behind you says, "Excuse me, could you please sit up? This is causing me pain." Sit your ass up.
Okay, that sounds good, but then why can't I recline though?
Because you're hurting someone
I know,
else.
no. Why can't I recline? I paid for this seat and I can't recline.
Because you're causing harm to someone else.
I know.
I don't
So
care
now
about
it's
that
the
other
problem
person.
of the airline.
Right.
This is not my problem, and that's where the anger comes in.
And I think that's the problem, is we don't think about the other person.
No,
So what I
the
think
airline was supposed to think about the other person.
Aaron, I get that. But in that
It
moment,
wasn't me that I'm supposed to think about the other person.
but in that moment,
In that moment, it's the airline's fault.
you're like, fuck it, it's the airline's fault. You
Yes,
get paid,
it's the
I'm gonna be
airline's fault.
comfortable.
Yes.
No.
Well, think of,
Whatever
no.
it does.
Remember, when you sat in those seats, why?
Literally could not
Whose
feel my
fault was it?
fucking legs.
Whose fault was it? We had tons of room.
I had so much leg room, I couldn't touch the thing in front of me, but I could
Yup.
not move my legs. I could not feel my legs for 6 hours.
So whose fault was it? The airline. They stuck us in those chairs, telling us we had lots of leg room, and we couldn't even fit in the chairs.
We had been upgraded to these little tiny ass fucking chairs.
That nobody wants to fucking sit in,
They
and that's
were
why they put us
horrible.
there. Because they didn't want to piss off Chinese people
God
by
damn it.
sticking them there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, it just seems like when you have the opportunity to have the comment cards and all that kind of stuff, they better take those things seriously because they're gonna lose people flying. I mean, people are already uncomfortable when flying.
Yeah.
If you make it more uncomfortable, then why would they choose that method of transportation outside of the fact that they want to get there fast?
Yeah.
Right.
You know? But if you make it uncomfortable, people are going to start making different choices. You know, especially to move around inside of a country.
Yeah.
Because everywhere minus the US and Mexico, I guess, they have another option that's almost as fast or better,
Yeah.
which is the faster trains. They
Yeah.
have another way that is far more comfortable.
In Mexico, you certainly don't have a train. They do not have passenger
don't get that
trains
option.
in Mexico. Just so you know, if you're ever wondering, they don't have it.
So, I don't know.
Make better planes and, airline fix.
I remember when flying was comfortable and people could smoke.
Yeah. There was a picture I saw where it was like a picture out of a pamphlet and people have like these big trays of food, steak dinners.
Oh yeah!
The huge seats, and then it's like, man, if it's like this now, I wonder what it'd be like in 50 years. And then it's this dude with a neck pillow and he's like this fat dude laying on him and sitting around like this. And yeah.
That's what it'd be like in 50 years. Because
you got people sitting next to you sneezing and coughing on you and spilling their things on you.
The planes have like gotten bigger and the amount of people has gone up so high that you're just a sardine.
The bigger plane doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's just more sardines.
Yeah.
My friend, who is the news anchor in Texas, he was flying recently, and the person next to him literally spilled an entire beverage on him because the person wasn't paying attention and hit the glass and it covered him. And he's like, and all the flight attendant did was give me a Kleenex.
What else are they going to do?
One single.
I'm just like,
please.
What are you going to do? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's not a system today designed around comfort. It is a system, the entire system is designed for, I mean, think about it. From the time you walk into the airport to the time you get to your destination, the airport experience is the worst part of your trip.
oh yeah.
You know? And people have been kind of taking it.
Right.
But honestly, that if you don't make that better, and a lot of the airports try to make it better by the restaurants that they have, the shopping that they have.
But they still have
and
to
all
deal with
that
the security agents and customs officials and blah blah blah, and their shit getting broken. Like the guy from Mali had an irreplaceable handmade instrument.
Yeah, I heard.
That was
Personalized.
destroyed. Personalized instrument was destroyed, and on the inside of his case was a note in Spanish that said, "Intelligent security makes the world easier, or makes travel easier," or something like that. And they completely dismantled this man's instrument.
Why? What did that do?
They took it apart.
They took it
What
like
did
the
they do
whole
for
heart.
That meant that they could have verified that it was in fact not a bomb or not a threat to the plane. But the problem is,
All they had
even
to
if
do
you
was
don't
guess.
know what kind of instrument it is, there are ways of non-destructive ways of looking inside of something.
Right, like put it through an X-ray machine or something.
Once you did that, you knew that it was fine. Once you X-rayed it, you knew that it was
And
fine.
the man's argument was, would they do this to a Stradivarius violin?
Right.
No, they wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't. Because they would recognize what it was and they would just look inside. They would eyeball it and go, okay, yeah, this is all good. There's nothing inside of it that's not supposed to be there, and move on.
Right.
But, yeah, man, just do it quickly.
Come on.
Why did ducks have tail feathers? To cover their butt quack.
See? These are the second grade jokes that she loves. This is what second graders love to talk about stuff. Butt jokes always work. Look at her, she's gonna die. Look, oh God, she's
now
totally
she's-
done now.
yeah.
All right, while she is over there trying to get herself back together, oh God, the woman is crying. If you want to find the Traveling Farrs, you can find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, and the Google Podcast, and the Traveling Farrs. If you like the Instagram and the Twitters, Traveling Farrs. If you where my most awesome daily photo is going, email travelingfars@gmail.com, and the blog space, thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry. Go to the blueberry and listen if you want the audio only. If you want the video, then that means you gotta wait a little bit, and it'll be on the YouTubes. Yes, uncut on the blog space.
Full uncut.
And uncut on the iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts.
No. Well, if it goes to the blog space, it's going to all those podcasting places.
Yes.
Okay, that's the full show uncut.
The uncut audio.
No video though.
Yes.
If you want to see his holy shirt, well then you got to go to the YouTubes.
My failed Flash shirt. It was like I was trying to run away, but then I got shot many times.
So we're out of here. Say goodbye to the people.
Gone over.
Karen?
Ooh.
Karen, stop shopping. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people. Ooh, this is cool.